So, welcome everyone, or anyone that happens to come and see this later. So, hi, I'm Diana Atkins, and I want to talk tonight about something that's kind of near and dear to my heart, frankly. Um, I have been a coach for a long time and I've gotten coached and all of that. And so I really wanted to be able to talk about it because not everybody gets coaching. I mean, just straight up, they don't really understand it. They don't get it. And so I really learned something. I love this. I always like when I'm researching something new because while I may have been a coach for a few decades, I never looked up the history of coaching. So I did today for you. And excuse me. And so what I learned was that the whole, and if you think about it, it makes sense that the whole concept of coaching kind of goes back to people being coached in the arts or in sports, music. People get coached in school. You might have a math tutor, which is different than a coach, but similar. And it's also around the whole concept of how it can be really helpful for people in every walk of life and all occupations to have support from somebody that's going to support you to come to your full potential. And so, formal coaching, I learned as a quite kind of thing, it actually started with a guy named Thomas Leonard, Leonard. And weirdly, he was an American financial planner. And his story kind of goes like this. So he saw that his emotionally very stable clients, and he understood they didn't need therapy, but they wanted more from him than just the usual, tips on what to do with your, balance sheet or financial planning and how to, guard your income and all of that. And so what they wanted, he found, was that they wanted help in organizing their lives, in planning and achieving their goals and their dreams and gaining clarity and all of that. And so one of the stories I read said that Thomas spent about 3 years trying to kind of unravel the mystery of himself. And he used every process that he had at the time. We're talking late 80s, early 90s here. And he was asking for help from anybody who would even listen to him. And as the story goes, he failed miserably. And so out of desperation, he decided to try to find something new. And I found this so fascinating. And so Thomas, it kind of got another person to ask him questions about himself to kind of help him reveal things to him that he hadn't either seen or understood or caught. And also things that he hadn't revealed to anybody else, including himself. And that's an important part. It's how it kind of works. I've seen it hundreds of times, helping him to understand parts of himself. And so this person, and we'll call them his personal listener or coach, then reflected what Thomas had revealed back to Thomas, kind of like a mirror effect. And he, apparently the story goes, he did it in a very objective, confidential, clear, kind of non-biased, truthful manner to uncover who Thomas really was. And he discovered his true inner self through reflection that was provided by his coach. And anyway. So as a result of noticing all of this, Thomas he gradually shifted his career from being a financial planner into full-time development of all of a lot of the techniques which were to become the origin of life coaching methodology. At the time, he called it life planning. And so he goes on, and within a few years, he was coaching and training people in his specific coaching skills, which they say were complementary, but really different to those practiced by therapists, mentors, and consultants. And I'm going to talk more about that in a minute because it's true, vastly different. So, and then back in the early 1990s, Thomas founded the very first formal coach training program. And I think it was Coach U, but I forgot. And so it's really true, that's the end of Thomas's story, but it's really true that life coaching is radically different in its needs and its applications. And so, it's really different from sports coaching, and it's different from therapy, and it's different from consulting. And what I have seen, because back when I started to be a coach and all of that, what I saw was that there was still a remaining kind of stigmata kind of thing about anybody going to a coach, because back then people didn't understand that coaching is not therapy at all. So it wasn't like, you needed help. That's not it at all. I mean, coaches work with, we'll just say, well people. Yeah, and not seriously. Well, they just work with, they don't work in the really, like if you're seriously depressed or serious PTSD, your coaches don't work there. But you may have casual depression and casual PTSD, and coaches are fine there. And so, it's really coaches work with those that don't need therapy, but what they really need is like this, a truly objective perspective and reflection. And so when I teach my students, that'll be in the coach training, my very first class is around what a coach is and what it isn't. And then also the differences between like a coach versus your friend or your family or a therapist or a consultant kind of thing. And so I'm going to just start with friends because it's kind of fun. Because all of us, I'm assuming all of us, we go and we talk to our friends. That's part of the definition, it seems like, of being a friend. And we'll confide and talk back and forth and get feedback and this and that. And yet the thing about a friend is that, friend and family, because I know like my family is really biased and very opinionated, and some of my friends are too. And so there are times when our friends or family, maybe they're busy, or maybe we've kind of like overloaded our friend or family quota of our problems. But, part of the deal is that our friends and family, they can't be truly objective because by definition, they are embroiled in our lives. I mean, I don't think any of us have friends that aren't involved in our lives in some way, shape, or form. And so I'm not saying we don't talk to our friends and family. I'm just saying that there's a place where, or we can reach a time, not all of us do, but we can reach a time where we need something different. And so, there's also a consultant, which is not like a coach either, because we hire a consultant to tell us what to do. Okay. And I'll probably repeat this, but, coaches you don't hire a coach to have them tell you what to do. If you want a consultant, you're going to go hire like a lawyer or a feng shui expert or a doctor. All of these people are consultants, and their whole job is to tell you exactly what to do. And what I have found is what I usually need when I've had coaches is I need like a mirror. I need a confidant and somebody that can be objective, that's not embroiled in all of my stuff. And, the truth is, what's going on for you or me, that's going on for us. And so a coach will be able to see you or I more clearly without all the family and all the history and all the whatever is going on around us. And I mean it, somebody, I don't know about you, but I know for myself, somebody, I'm better. But it used to be, if somebody told me what to do, I'd probably do the exact opposite. And, that's in my earlier years. But essentially, we all will learn better if somebody can draw the answer out of us. I don't know about you, and many will disagree with me here, but I believe, and I know in my own heart, that every one of us has the answer inside of us. We also have loads of crap on top of that, our domestication, our rules, our society, our religion, our culture, all saying, don't be a big girl, don't cry, don't whatever it is. And so but we know what it is that we really want underneath all the stuff that says, don't look. And, I've said in other classes here that, burying things in denial are like they're almost like a pandemic in the world right now, because a lot of people do that. They think it hurts, but my God, so do a pair of new shoes. So, get over it in a sense, because really and truly we have to look. Ask any of my students, my famous thing is, you can't change what you can't see. And so we really have to be able to see. And that's what a coach can do, in my opinion, better than can't say that. A coach can do as well and sometimes better than anybody that's stuck in our lives with us, because coaches don't tell you what to do. They're not the consultant. And that's really important to understand. And they're not the friend that might not tell you the truth because they don't want to hurt your feelings. And so there's a lot of types of coaches out there too. Oh, and I'm going to give you guys something. It's on my website, totally free, but I'm going to post it here with, in the comments after we're done. And it's called 170 Coaching Niche Ideas. Just to give you an example, and I swear to God, I could probably get up to 200 now, and there's more, because there's coaches come in every field, every dynamic. I mean, there's diet coaches, business coaches, soulmate coaches, relationship coaches, Metatron coaches, exercise coaches. There are sports and other stuff. I'm mostly talking about life coaches, transformation coaches, grief coaches, death coaches. On and on and on. And there's a really good reason for that, and that's a really good thing. And the reason is that when someone's a coach, my prayer is that they're actually coaching from their own life experience. And so they've had experience with the whatever issue is. So, if you're having problems with business, you might go to a business coach. If you're looking for a relationship, well, you might go to a soulmate or a relationship coach. Depending on what it is you're looking for, the beauty and joy is that there are, I'll give you 170 different types of coaches, knowing that there's even more than that. And it's like people ask me, well, why on earth would you go to a coach? And okay, so I've talked a little bit about it, but people go to coaches because the coach is going to support us with issues, like I said, gaining clarity, maybe changing direction in our life, making decisions in our lives. Even though they won't tell you what to do, a good coach will ask you the questions to help you uncover it in yourself. Finding our deeper truths and our clarity. When I was doing keyword research this week, a lot of people are searching, like, how do I find spiritual direction? That's another way a coach can help. Maybe they help us to see what we have not let go of yet. And they can really help with the big transitions in our life, breakups in every kind of relationship, empty nest syndrome, jobs, careers, job loss, grief, and again, death, and all of that. And so one thing to consider is, one thing to consider that I have personally seen, and I also now believe, is that, I can come to a coach with having, say, one issue, but a good coach is going to help me tease out what's underneath of that. Okay. And what I have seen as a coach and a coach trainer is that, well, and don't take this badly, but if you dig down, most of all of our issues come down to just a few things that revolve around self-respect, self-awareness, being unworthy. That's the core. Like, I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. I'm too big or too small or too much or too this, and I'm not good enough and I'm not worthy. At the basis, core of us, that's, I'd say 95 to 98% of our actual problem. And it's manifesting as, my job is, my boss at my job is being such an ass to me. And, and so if I've had that kind of a client, and when we dug deeper, so in that case, it's going to be one of two things. Either the boss is really an ass, or two, the client doesn't have the self-respect to stand up and say, stop it. Stop doing this to me. And so it's around helping people understand their true value and worth, because everybody's got that. Everybody's friggin' amazing. And so when you start digging deeper, if the boss is an ass, well, then the questions are, how do I, what do you need to do to get out of there? How can you change the situation? And so you ask them, and, can you go to HR? Yes or no, can you find another job? And so, or if it's self-respect, it's like, what voice in your head is telling you that you're not good enough? that you deserve respect and that you're going to stand up to this bully and gain that respect. And so that's just a little teeny example of how an initial issue that we may start to work with is not, it's your real issue in the moment, but there's deeper things causing it. There's something else usually or often going on underneath of that. And that's what, at least my coaches and myself, that's what can get teased out of you. And we coaches do that by asking really good questions. And that's the prayer. And so, like, the characteristics of a really, in my opinion, a good life coach is that they ask you questions. They don't tell you what to do. First, they get to know you. And then, so they're asking, and hang on a second. Not wine tonight. I'm not going to gulp my wine. They start to get to know you. So, how I train my coaches is you have an intake session, and that's literally about getting to know you and asking questions about, your life and where you're at right now. It's like where you were, where you are, and where you want to go. Once, at least for me, as I've got that information, then you've also given me what you want to work on. So that's the where you want to go part. And from there, after that first one, you've given a coach, because if they bring curiosity to it, like I'm so curious what's going on with people. How can I help them? How can I serve them? And a good coach, that's another characteristic. They should be serving you, not being a consultant and telling you anything. And so they are really good listeners. And I personally take notes, and I tell people, I say, you get more than 1 or 2 or 3 clients, you'll never remember it all. And so, they're taking notes, they're paying attention, they're asking you about you, they're helping you to delve into yourself. And coaches do that by asking really good questions. I know, and I'm not going to give you that, but in the course I teach, I've got 300 coaching questions. I could probably come up with another 100 now, but, so there's a lot of ways that you can start getting people to kind of open themselves up and uncover what those, say, lower hidden sometimes beliefs, agreements, wounds, the owies, and that kind of thing. There's a quote by Dr. Joe Vitale that is actually Freud. He adapted it. That's, I think, is brilliant. And it says, when you bury an emotion, you bury it alive. When you bury an emotion or a pain or a misunderstanding, you bury it alive. And it's still in there alive and kicking your life around. It really is. And so that's what a good coach does. I'll share something really quick. I had a friend, I was living in Santa Fe at the time, and a friend came down and she said, hey, I hear you're training coaches and that you're a life coach yourself. And I went, yeah. She goes, well, I know some friends that will never go to one again. And I'm like, really? Why not? Oh, they just talked and talked and talked, and we're telling them what to do. And these people got so frustrated, they will never go to a coach again. And before she finished, I was kind of chuckling. I mean, I couldn't help it. And she was getting a little like, what the hell? And I said, no, I'm so sorry. I said, I'm only laughing because you have no idea how much time I spend telling my own coaches that I train, don't do that. And so that's a bad coach, that you want to avoid that in a coach, so if you've got you're trying to, well, this is a really good thing. So one of the things you can do, most coaches should have the ability for you to have like a discovery call or a clarity call with them, a free call, so you can check them out. And if they don't offer it directly, ask them for it. Ask them for it, seriously. And that way, when you have that call, you'll be able to feel them out. Does their energy resonate with you? And do they talk the whole damn time? Are they trying to sell you or serve you? I mean, there's a difference between selling to somebody and serving somebody. And when you're selling, it's like, I want you to buy this. When you're serving, it's like, how can I help you? What do you need? How can I support you? And you can also tell from an intake or a discovery or a clarity call whether they're interested in you at all, whether they actually listen. And there's a difference between hearing you and listening to you. big difference, worth paying attention, noticing. And you can also see what happens if they start telling you what to do. I mean, it drives me crazy, but it might not drive you crazy, but I'm saying that is not a good coach. You don't want to do anybody that's going to do that. And I know that there are a lot of people that actually want that. And I will confess there's been times in my life where I thought, oh my God, would somebody please just tell me what to do? And the most effective process for any of us to actually learn it is having it be experiential, where we're going through it rather than just being told. It's like experiential stuff has a stickiness factor to it. It's going to stick. It's going to stay there. It's not going to leave you the minute you turn around. And the other element around that is that there's a lot of when it's coming from yourself, and when you can uncover that, it's like, yeah, there's more ownership of it. There's a lot more ownership. And that's why the coach should, one, be really objective. If they're not, walk away. They need to be really supportive of you. And a good coach is going to be a mirror for you. And again, a mirror is not telling, well, unless it's, shoot, what's that show where the mirror on the wall? Anyway, it's not that telling you what to do. And I was looking, so again, people said, why would somebody even want to become a coach? And because I have to do marketing, I went and I pulled 9 years worth of applications of all my students, because I asked them that question, and I put all of their responses in one place so I could just look at it. And I would say 85 to 90% said this. They said, it's so interesting. People, they just come and talk to me. Even in the supermarket, people will just start talking to me. They'll tell me their life stories and all of that. And that's the biggest one. They're doing it already. They're already, in essence, coaching and helping people and supporting people. The other number 2, Ty, was a career change. And actually, those are neck and neck. So the one couldn't be 95, because there's a lot of people right now, as we've been seeing, that want that career change. They want to do something different in their lives. I've gotten a lot of psychiatrists and therapists that are tired of the clinical model, and they want to then move into coaching. A lot of massage people, their bodies start to wear out. And so they, and they're already coaching. I mean, I've even had hairstylists. Hairstylists are some of the best coaches in the world, kind of thing. And so it really, I've had a lot of vets come through. And so it's around the people that become coaches. It's usually one of those 2 things. They're doing it already. They want a career change, or they also, a part of their heart, like I was talking to one woman the other day, she was like, I've worked for my paycheck for all my life. Now I want to work for my heart and my own self-fulfillment that's also helping other people. And I thought that was really sweet as well, and some people, they just have that heart. They want to help other people. And I'm so thankful and so glad, because, oh gosh, it's maybe been 5 years or so ago, one group did a survey. And at that point, there were only 17,000 coaches in the United States. How many billion people do we have? 17,000, and that was it. And then a few years ago, I thought, well, I wonder what that's like. So I went and I actually Googled life coaches in my area, and I actually found 2 or 3, but that was it. And they were not even in a specialty that I would be interested in. And so with the internet these days, and Zoom and everything, it's really helpful, because I know I personally coach by phone. That way my people are everywhere, or can be anywhere if they don't have a computer handy. But, we've got phone, we've got computer, we've got in person. And so, coaches, I don't know, man, they're amazing, because, they want to help you. That's why they've taken it on. It is helpful. So I wouldn't have said this And I'm not saying it just because I train coaches. I'm actually saying it because another group of people I've had through my course were people that were already coaching without any certification or training, and they hit a wall. They hit a spot where they didn't know how to proceed past that area. And so, yes, you can coach without. I mean, coaching isn't regulated in the United States yet, and so anybody can be a coach. Having said that, it can be very helpful to have some kind of training. I do know that. And I know that the other reason some people have come to mind is because of the spiritual focus and the energy tools focus. Because one of the things I found with a lot of the vets that came through Artists of the Spirit was that, and they said, in fact, every one of them said, traditional therapy, talk therapy didn't help them. And the somatic tools did help them. So a lot of what my coaches work through did help them. And so speaking of my coaches, I've got the program like Artists of the Spirit for this page. I have the Artist of the Spirit Coach Training Program, and I popped the links into the website for my graduates page. So there's a page, it's not every graduate because hundreds have, but those that were ready to start coaching and wanted that part, they've given me their bio. You've got pictures and all of that. So you can go and see them there and look through, You can see there are all different areas and different types. And then I'm also coaching. So I believe in the event setup page, you have links to my personal coaching page and Artists of the Spirit. And if you're interested ever in becoming a coach, I'm starting an Artists of the Spirit. It's a 3-month program where you get the 3 certifications in one training, which doesn't happen anywhere. I mean, we're the only ones doing that. So it's life, energy, and spiritual coach. And I like to say it's 3 trainings in 3 months for 3 times the power and effect, because you're a life coach. You are trained in energy tools to take it beyond like talk coaching. And then the spiritual component, that part of it is because if you check our testimonials, most of my students say this program changed their lives. And I believe it's because I thought about it. I was like, well, that's really cool. And what I think is that 1, you learn the Toltec principles and Toltec philosophy. And 2, I harp on it. Do the practices on yourself for yourself first, because that's the experiential aspect of it. It's like, you got to do it to know it. And so, but they say that this program, changes their lives. So if you're at all interested in becoming a life coach, that's there on that page as well. And so I hope that helps. I'm going to give you the 170, or not 170, it is 170 coaching niche ideas. I'll post that. And I may repost the links to artists in my pages. Again, if you want to coach, I've got a bunch of graduates on that page that can, you can go through and look at them, read their bios, look at their pictures. I train them all to have clarity calls. And I mean that. If you're going to look, I got the hiccups, I'm sorry. If you intend to find a coach, whatever you do, have that free 15, 30-minute clarity discovery, whatever they want to call it, call with them to see if they resonate with you. Because what I've seen is that if you don't trust them, how do I say this? That inner higher part of you will only open up insofar as you trust your coach. Okay? And the more you trust your coach, the more you'll be willing to share those deeper revelations and things with your coach. And so keep that in mind if you ever go looking for one. And I just wish everyone a very, very, very blessed rest of the week. And thank you. Oh, and if you have questions, just pop them in the Facebook comments, because I have to check that every day due to being spammed. All right, y'all. Blessings and be well.